program, you're also stealing the very thing that they did in creating a character, and that is the connection with the audience. People now might be tuning in, if they're Kermit the Frog fans, might be tuning into your show just to hear your impression of him week to week. And that's where that's called audience affect. It's a certain emotional connection, a certain recognizing a life that people have with characters. And that I discussed that a bit more in my thesis, and that's very academic.
Okay, now you're listening to Know Your Rights on CINQ 102.3 FM, cable 88.3. And when we come back, we're going to discuss a public domain person, but that'll have to wait until Priscilla does her corner.
Wright Talks is sponsored in part by Everything Out of Her Mouth is a Test, a man's guide to the emotional needs of women. Ladies, do you want the man in your life to understand you on your level? Do you want your man to be able to listen to and address all of your emotional needs? Show him how much you really want your relationship to be the best it can be. Everything Out of Her Mouth is a Test makes a perfect gift. The book, written by a man for men, is endorsed by every woman that reads it. This book is a guide for men to understand exactly what a woman means when she speaks. Is that worth changing your life forever? Buy this book at franktalks.com now.
Loser to Seducer is the story of Frank B. Kermit. This book marks the triumph of a nice guy over most of his inner demons. This includes going from being a loser to managing 5 lovers at the same time, his first Valentine's date with 2 women at the same time, and getting back the one that got away. Want to learn how you can change your life? Buy this book at franktalks.com.
Guys, does your bachelor pad look as frightening as an Elvis convention? Then you need the Pimping Your Pad seminar. Do you own a twin bed and still love your Star Wars sheets? Then you need the Pimping Your Pad seminar. Is the only source of artificial light in your bachelor pad the bare, dusty bulb hanging from the ceiling? Then you need the Pimping Your Pad seminar. Do your friends walk into your apartment and think you have been robbed? Then you need the Pimping Your Pad seminar. Do you think that minimalist means barren as the Gobi Desert? Then you need the Pimping Your Pad seminar. If your bathroom is home to a colony of anything, then you need the Pimping Your Pad seminar. The Pimping Your Pad seminar and telephone consultations, only available at franktalks.com.
And now back to Know Your Rights on CINQ FM.
Thank you very much, Priscilla Duarte. It's really nice to have you here every week as our segment producer. And you're on CINQ 102.3 FM, cable 88.3, on the internet, www.radiocentreville.com. My name is Ted Wright, coordinator of Westmount Legal Clinic. Karen Marshall is our co-host, and we're with Franco and Santa Claus.
Public domain character. So in a theory, anybody can use the character of Santa Claus in their works. However, you have to make sure to use your own original version of Santa Claus and not take somebody else's version of Santa Claus. Because although the character is public domain, a newer version of Santa Claus is copyright by the person who creates that newer version.
That means that we have these movies from the 30s or 40s. They've got a Santa Claus. Then you've got, like, what's that guy who, the
Tim
comic
Allen.
from Detroit, Tim Allen, the Santa Claus. He's got his own version of Santa Claus. They both have a specific copyright.
Well, not necessarily Tim Allen, the company that may own that. You also have the Santa Claus in the Canadian Tire commercials, who sells Canadian Tire products with Ebenezer Scrooge. So you have to remember that when you're talking about a public domain character, you're talking about the character as it was originally conceived of. A newer version of that character has its own separate copyright. A good example is the character of Frankenstein. Frankenstein, as it appeared in the original book, you know the little bolts that stick out of Frankenstein's neck? That was never part of the original design of Frankenstein. Those bolts were added in the Frankenstein movies with Boris Karloff.
Oh, Boris.
So when you do, let's say you were to do a parody of the Frankenstein character, you wanted to do a new version of the Frankenstein character. If you use those bolts, you may have to clear rights with the version of the rights holders who created the version of Frankenstein with the bolts in his neck.
Okay, what if you just change the color? Let's say, we'll go back to Santa Claus. Let's say we turn Santa Claus suit blue.
Again,
nobody's going to believe you.
I would worry less about whether or not people are going to believe you. And just to answer your question, changing the color alone is not enough if it's still identifiable as the character. But if you took an original picture of Santa Claus, you hired some artist to do an original picture for you and painted him blue, you don't copyright on that, pending you made sure that you had a contract with the artist saying you own those rights. If, however, you took the Tim Allen version of Santa Claus and painted him blue, doesn't matter that you're painting him blue, there is a copyright on that Tim Allen.
I can't believe the show is over. You got to come back. We have barely touched the topic today.
Well, I look forward to coming back, and we'll set something up and we can talk a little bit more about entertainment law, specifically character creation and the law.
Wow, that's it just continues and continues. And can you do us a favor before you go?
Absolutely.
I want you to say, in your Kermit voice, you're listening to Know Your Rights on CINQ-FM, Montreal.
Hi-ho, this is Kermit the Frog, and you are listening to CINQ and Know Your Rights here in Montreal.
See, now that isn't really Kermit, and you have to put it in context.
Well, we can do it on this show under fair dealing here in Canada, but you know what? Won't be able to air that again.
I know. Okay, anyway, this is Know Your Rights show on CINQ 102.3 FM. My name is Ted Wright. We've got here
Karen Marshall.
And there
Priscilla.
And Franco, and he's going to be back probably because we're going to do 2 or 3 things like this. And we've got 2 other people coming in, one a musician and one a lawyer, to talk about just this area. And we'll be back in 1 week. If you want to get in touch with us, it's you can fax the show 277-8403, 277-8403. If you want to talk to the co-host, it's Karen CincFM at hotmail.com, Karen CINQFM at hotmail.com. And that's it. We'll be back next week.
Legal dossiers are complicated. Westmount Legal Clinic advises that you consult a lawyer. Legal cases cannot be resolved without a professional.
Frank Talks is sponsored in part by Everything Out of Her Mouth is a Test, a man's guide to the emotional needs of women. What would your life be like if you knew exactly what to say and do with women? This book is for the guy that simply wants to learn how to handle women's tests by addressing her emotional needs. By this, you create the type of attraction that will make her see you as the one she was destined to be with. This book will teach you how to get the woman you want and how to keep her. Everything Out of Her Mouth is a Test is the Rosetta Stone for men to understand exactly what a woman means when she speaks and how to respond. Is that worth changing your life forever? Buy this book at franktalks.com now.